Hey everybody, it's Lebo with Lebo's Pinball, and here we are in yet another episode of Sluggin Champ, trying to get this game all refreshed and back to the owner. Where we left off last time, we were working on getting the pop bumpers rebuilt, and I got the other one taken care of. That was kind of off camera. So that one is taken care of. And another thing that was off camera, the slings, I went ahead and swapped out the coils per request of the owner, checked them out, and made sure everything is fine. Actually, the linkages are fine. There was a tiny little bit of slop, but not much really at all. And um, anyways, cleaned all that up. The new coils that are nice because they have the nylon sleeve in them, and so anyways, that looks good. I actually even polished out some of these little brackets, but shh, don't tell anybody. All right. While I had them out, that was just an easy thing to go ahead and drop into the tumbler that I've got now here for kind of cleaning up some parts. But anyways, now the next thing that I need to dress, and I have actually got a little far along on this already, is this whole little apron. This is the old one that looked pretty bad, and I had this new one here, and I'd shown you before I need to cut it out, and so I've already actually jumped ahead and took care of that. So I actually had there was a punch that I bought. So I don't know if I've still got it sitting out around here. Maybe, yeah, here it is. Oh, let's see, what size was this? 7/16, I think. The way I did this is I kind of just eyeballed it, looking at the holes here, and you had to kind of peek real closely inside to make sure you got it lined up. And then on the top, I just hit it with a hammer, and that worked out. And underneath it, I used something like a little old manila folder here, just to kind of give it a little bit of something to take the impact with. After that, I got this out and started using a straight edge to go cut all the lines, and then just carefully cut these out. Then for the actual instruction cards, I laid this old one on top of it just to use as a guide, and all the marks are here. I just use an X-Acto knife and just cut out the locations so that the new cards would drop right in. So now that we've got that, let's go put this back on the playfield and just see how it's looking. And here we have it. It's a little bit of a darker color compared to the original one, but of course the original one's got a lot of fade to it. And look how much it faded from underneath compared to that. But looking at the artwork, or not, just the colors, this is a little bit of a deeper color, but this is the way that Pinball Resource makes it, and I think it looks really good actually. So we got the cards in. These are the original cards. As far as I can tell, these are the actual original cards from 1955, which is really cool, honestly. I know it's a little stuff like this, but 71-year-old cards, I think it's right, yeah. Anyway, 71-year-olds, this is really cool. All right, so we've got this whole little shooter guard to go put in place. And I know that I've got a little bit of work to do on this. All right, so here's the issue. So I've got the screw hole lined up just fine up there, and that looks good. It's pretty close to the rail on the side, but that's fine. Right there, it's lined up perfectly with that screw hole. And right here, if I pull that to line with the screw hole right there, I now have this kind of weird gap that's on the right. I don't think I'm going to like that too much. It's going to be a little crooked. Actually, let's get this kind of in place and look at it relative to the apron and everything. Get this all positioned right. If I can. A little hard to. All right, it's just a little bit crooked, and I know I am totally splitting hairs on this, but I can't stand it. Like I said, it's the OCD in me that just can't let certain things go. So what I will probably do, I've got some wooden dowels here. This is probably like a 3/16. I may drill that hole to be that size. Go ahead and put a little dowel in there, glue it in place, and then I will re-drill it wherever it needs to be. So I will put this in place so that it is aligned just right where it needs to be. So it looked good. And I don't want it snagging on any of that. That's the problem. But you want it all nice and even. And then go ahead and run a tiny little drill through it and run a screw. So we're going to go check that out and see how it looks out. So here we go. There is the hole that I drilled and ran a dowel in there, and it's glued in place and it is flush. There we have it, all in alignment. Now I'm going to go ahead and use a staple gun and put this apron cover back down in place, real similar to the way that the original one was. Staples are now in place and the apron is nice and secure in the way that it originally was. I was really tempted to go put some staples in some other places, but I ended up just putting them like in the original location. So like one right here, here, and here, and here. And that's fine. But, you know, the more you do, the more you're going to see them. So I think it's probably better just to leave it alone. As far as cosmetic stuff is concerned, this just about does it. The only thing that is still bugging me a little bit, and I have not mentioned it at all during this whole project, but if I stand here and I kind of look at it, you guys might see it. Look at the rails, those metal rails along the side of the cabinet. They've got just a little bit of I don't know, like a surface corrosion or something going on. I am tempted to try to pull those off if I can without disturbing things and making things worse. I'm going to dig into that and see if I can pull those out. And if I can, let's see what we can do with it. You know, just kind of scrub them out, polish them out, maybe a little bit, put some, I don't know, evaporust, maybe, because it's just got like a little bit of stuff going on. Just want to see if I can make those look just a little bit better. Okay, so we got the play filled out. We did that by unplugging this, the Jones plugs here. We got the ones that were back here. Once you take those out, then the whole play fill can just sit here and wait for other work to be done. So anyways, to get these out, it looks like it may be fairly easy. I mean, easy as in just have to pull these nails out and then the whole thing can come out. You know, it stops right here, so it's not trapped behind any wood or anything like that. So somebody had asked me before, you know, what are these van pliers that you're talking about and what's so special about them? So what's different? So look at the grip. You see how they're like vertical this way instead of horizontal like most pliers. That's the idea. So when you grab hold of a, let's see if I can zoom in on something here to make it a little easier to look at. If you're grabbing hold of this with normal pliers, your little teeth are not really kind of biting into it. This time you've got them like, you can kind of tell that way. That grabs hold of it and it makes it a little easier to just pull it out. It's not like the perfect tool for, you know, all the time, but sometimes it works out really cool. Works out really nice. So got that out. Let's get the rest of them out and see if we can treat this metal and make it look a little nicer. Here's the metal on the workbench. You can see the rust and, you know, whatever corrosion that's in place. We're going to go ahead and try to scrub this some, but I do think that putting it in a whole little bath of evaporust is probably a good idea. I've heard of people that have taken PVC pipe and then just, you know, capping off one end. You can take, you know, legs, long pieces such as this, and just stick it down the pipe and let it soak for a day or so. I'm going to give that a try. I don't have that right now, so I'm going to go ahead and head to the store here probably the next day or so and go ahead and get that soaking. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and give this a little bit of scrub and kind of give it a little bit of a pre-treatment because you got this rust that's here. And this is an area that's just right underneath where the playfield sits, but I know it's there. So we want to take care of that. But, you know, even above it, you know, you've got all this, you know, this inconsistent look and this blotchiness. So see if we can improve that by getting rid of that and then scrub it and see if we need to polish it or whatever. So let's make some improvements. Here's what we got after just taking a Scotch-Brite and rubbing it or scrubbing it down, knocking off the heavy rust on the surface, and it already made a bit of a difference. But, you know, it's areas like the blotchiness and all that, we got to get rid of that. So we're going to soak this in a little bit of evaporust. Then we'll scrub it down some more and then see what we can do. I got a little bit impatient with going out to go get the PVC pipe to go make a bath for that evaporust. But what I ended up doing, I took a sheet of aluminum foil and kind of made like a little canoe. Uh, or I guess that's what you could call it, just a little tub for this whole thing to sit in. And I poured some of that evaporist in, and it did do some work to help eat things up. It didn't get everything. If you see this area down here, this stuff is pretty deep. But fortunately, it's really below the playfield line. So once it's in the game, you never see it. So after I had the evaporust on there, I went back. Actually, had this buffing tool, and I took a really coarse Scotch Brite pad, and I used that between the whole buffing um, tool or whatever the whole piece that comes out there, and I used that to just kind of go back and forth and scrub and scrub and scrub through that. And then afterwards, I took just by hand, just to get the kind of the scratch lines along with the grain. And I just went back and forth, kind of like I've done on side rails on other games, if you've watched my other videos. Um, so that was kind of the idea, with just really graining it back out. And then I went back in a little bit with some others. Um, Even though you've got a bit of a grain in here, I just went back with that to kind of clean it up and polish it out a little bit more. And I stopped at that point. And the reason is, I think once this goes in, I don't know that we want this thing to be an absolute mirror. That might look a little weird. Um, Having it just clean looking and kind of brushed, I think it just feels right for it. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back in. I think this is looking a lot better than what it was, and will look appropriate for it. So we'll probably reuse those nail holes. I don't want to create new holes in the metal. That would be bad. But I am going to use some fresh new nails. I'm going to use those spiral nails that are commonly used on pinball for like side rails, and they'll help hold this all in a lot better. The nails that came out were just straight. So, all right, let's go ahead and throw this one in, and I'm going to go ahead and work on the other one. All right, so we got the left rail put back in, and man, I tell you what, it looks a lot better. I still have that, like, that blotchiness or whatever, that spot in the back that I mentioned, and it looks ugly. I can't really do much about that unless I really went crazy, but it gets covered up entirely by the playfield. And honestly, this is kind of the look that I was hoping to get. It's just cleaning up that metal that was there so that it looks right. So I'm gonna go ahead and take care of the right side and then put the playfield back in. And now the right side is done, and it looks nice and cleaned up. Not super shiny, but definitely got all the blotches out. It looks right now. It looks right for the vintage of the game. So all right, we're gonna go dive in to see what else is going on with the game. Just a little bit of a last bit of diagnostics. I just powered up the game, and it shows 20,000 points. I know that that's wrong. And at the beginning of all these videos, there's still something not quite right with a stepper unit or whatever. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. But I'll tell you what, folks, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up for now. I just want to guys give you an update about what's going on with Sluggin Champ, and we've got a lot of the cosmetics basically done, a lot of the functional stuff done. It's just some of the last little bit of just some of the debugging stuff to kind of knock out. So we'll see you guys next time, and hopefully we can wrap this thing up.